Today is Tuesday, May 8th. Hope you guys all had a good weekend. I think someone outside of our office did because it's covered in Four Loko cans. Did you notice that when you came in?
I thought that was banned.
They look like Four Loko cans. I didn't stop and pick one up because who knows what diseases are on it, but...
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend that. Now, you're probably thinking, something's different. What's different? And you're right. The number of screws is different today.
It is. Also, Wendell's gone for Penguicon.
Pro Aspie tip for this week. Sunday is Mother's Day.
Oh, yeah.
Start planning for that now.
I already know what I'm getting my mom. I'm getting my mom a fairy garden.
I don't know what that is.
It's like little fairy and dwarf figurines that you put... It's like Warhammer, but for your garden.
What do you think you're getting from Little Rue?
Probably pee in the house. She's done good for the last 3 or 4 days, but...
You think she'll be like, pee a little heart?
In the carpet? Yeah, probably.
Today we're going to talk about government policy, security, and just a splash of cryptocurrency. It's actually just nonsense cryptocurrency this week.
Yeah.
Apologize in advance. Maybe a little shorter than usual this week because... But 50% of our verbosity is gone right now, for better or for worse. So let's get right into it. The NSA. They're
doubling. They're doing more work with our taxpayer dollars.
They're tripling the phone records that they are spying on. They're working harder than ever.
I heard the story and I assumed that maybe it's like, all these teenagers are getting phones. So like they're just, automatically starting to tap them too.
You think a lot of teenagers are suspected terrorists and
probably
dissidents?
It's like, they tweeted something, they didn't like Trump. So we better go on and get tabs on them early.
I think the millennials would make terrible terrorists.
Probably.
No, it's just...
Very idealistic, but I don't know how much they'd sacrifice for the cause.
They wouldn't stay on task. They'd get distracted. They would tweet. Remember the girls who, like the cocaine smuggler millennial girls? And they got on Instagram.
Oh, yeah. And they're like, taking some cocaine back to the U.S.
Living the jihad life, and then we'd catch them immediately.
Yeah.
So, I'm not sure that it's made up of. I think actually just the net is getting wider.
Yeah.
They just don't care. They've gotten away with it. They got their wrists slapped. Nothing really happened. And they said, you know what? They're going to let us do whatever we want.
It seems like they're just doing more, like a bigger haystack, though. Like, how are you going to find the needles the more haystack you have?
Doesn't matter. Just...
Maybe they just need more fun. Like every other government agency, they need more funding every year. And if they don't use their full budget, they get it taken away.
If you don't spy on your allotted number of phones, then next year you will only be able to spy on half that many phones. So
they just have to keep increasing it.
Can't do it. Yeah. And speaking of government behaving badly, the FCC...
broke the law by advocating for Trump. It was just one guy, and he was like, hey, vote for Trump. There, you look at him right there.
This guy right here. Look at him. And it was, there's Pi in the background, of course. Look at
I almost didn't recognize him without the Reese Cup mug.
How could you miss that face?
Yeah, well, I can miss it.
So that guy's name is O'Reilly, and his crime is they had this political action committee. They had a conference, and they were talking about, like, what are we going to do? The liberals it was a conservative conference, and the liberals want to take over and they want to get the internet back. We can't let them have it. And he said, if you want to be sure to keep things the way they are, meaning net neutrality, vote for Trump. Get Trump reelected. But you're actually not allowed to advocate for a political candidate when you are speaking for the FCC.
Completely illegal.
Bad news.
Is he going to prison? I don't remember.
His punishment was a sternly worded letter.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Man, that's really going to make him rethink his behavior.
He probably reads it every night, cries himself to sleep.
He's like, man, I disappointed myself, the American people, my family.
They did say that should it happen again, there will be action. But for now, sternly worded letter.
Don't do it again.
Which, of course, every time you violate one of the FCC's policies, that's what you get, right? They would never go after the citizens.
Yeah.
In horrible ways, criminal ways. Of course not. And speaking of elections, look at these segues. I'm killing it.
You are killing it with the segues right now. Cyberattack crashes Tennessee County's website on election night. Now, this didn't actually affect the election at all. Like, everything went through just as fine, but It was DDoSed and taken down.
Yeah, there's the results. So they had an election, and for whatever reason, someone DDoSed the election results, which I can see how, especially with small town politics, a lot of people are deeply, deeply invested in it.
Like probably a little too much, having grown up in a small town.
It's because they're trying to buy a winner.
Yeah,
They want that local graft on their side. So when they can't figure out who's going to win, I can see how that would upset some people.
how did they? I guess you can't buy that service anymore, right? The biggest one, the DDoS service. Remember? I'm sure there's like a tons of others.
There are still some DDoS services,
but the big one just got taken down.
But they might not even bought it. They could have done their own botnet or something like that. They're investigating. I suspect that an election website that didn't have some sort of DDoS protection built in, some kind of like Cloudflare or something, doesn't have the technical mastery to track down who did this. I think they did try to get the FBI involved, but it's such a weird crime. I mean, can you even list damages from this crime? What are the damages?
I didn't get to know who won immediately, as if it's not already all over Facebook in a small town anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. So interesting. I'm not sure. Also, why waste the resources doing that? Is that just the ultimate troll? Just the election troll? Maybe the person they wanted to win didn't win, so this was a tantrum.
There's no... Someone, post your thoughts in the comments below about why you think someone would do this.
Or why you did it. If you want to admit.
If you're from, the holler in Tennessee.
Yeah.
Let us know.
I don't know. Is Tennessee that mountainous? Oh, that's the Smoky Mountains, I guess.
Yeah. That's
okay.
They're like Appalachian blood. They're close to us.
I don't know. I don't think so.
They have more of a tourism industry than we do.
Damn, man.
Yeah. Successfully capitalizing.
But whose meth is better?
Having not tried either, it's hard to say.
Come on. Get on my level. Well, I don't have a segue for this one.
Huawei.
I hate that name.
Huawei.
What a terrible name for a company. Anyway, if you're on a military base, you don't get Huawei or ZTE. And why not? Because China.
And they might be spying on you, so they're not going to give you their phones.
Yeah. And that's
pretty much it. Like,
I don't know if that will have much effect on their bottom line, but it's going to piss them off.
Yeah.
Because, I think, we always talk about this, and certainly China, I believe that they are spying 100%.
Oh, yeah, but so are we.
That's the point. That's the point. Do you think China should ban some of our companies? Can you get like an
iPhone? Like a regular iPhone?
You can definitely get an iPhone in China. I don't know if you could get, Samsung's not American.
Yeah.
What else do we make? Those are made in China anyway. I don't know if we make any phones here. I guess that's a moot point. Oh, well, maybe we should start making some phones over here so we can spy on China.
We need to bring back American manufacturing.
I don't know if Microsoft ever made phones here. I kind of doubt it.
Oh, yeah, the Microsoft phone. That was a failed experiment, wasn't it?
Maybe that's why. I don't know.
And yet they still make Blackberries.
But we do have some people in the comments who they'll sort of give us a hard time about China. Because they claim...
Oh, yeah, I saw that comment.
There's been more than one.
Yeah.
The stories that we cover about China are not realistic of the world in China. And the social media score and stuff like that, apparently just being made up by the media. I don't have any firsthand evidence, but we do have another story about China. And China, apparently... Now, WeChat. So we chatted about WeChat.
Prior to this episode starting.
And you compared to Snapchat. I don't use Snapchat, but I do understand that Snapchat supposedly is a temporary thing.
It's quote unquote temporary, where it deletes your stuff after a certain period of time, and you can set that period of time in the app. I don't use it, but part of my job is to understand it. So we assume that WeChat is kind of a copy of Snapchat, or maybe vice versa. Maybe they did it first. Who knows? Either way, it's the same sort of idea.
But the idea is you can say something or post something on WeChat that is not forever, and I know Snapchat at least has publicly said, no, we don't keep anything. We don't keep any record of that. Once it's gone, it's gone.
Wink.
I think WeChat sort of, if not coming right out and say it, they certainly lead you to believe that same thing is true. But it turns out some people were prosecuted, and part of the evidence was deleted WeChat.
I'm not surprised by that. I don't think that they delete stuff on Snapchat either.
Seems unlikely.
Yeah. No one's a winner here.
If you use Snapchat and or WeChat, just know that it's probably fair.
Maybe don't criticize the Chinese government. Or the American government, probably.
I don't want to tell people that. I mean,
you should, but like in China, you might be prepared to face some problems.
Yeah. Might be. I think you definitely will be. Somebody's looking at what's going on social media, on China at all times. It's amazing. You think about the workforce that they have to put toward that.
Yeah, and they have way more people than we do.
Because of how, and I assume AI can go a long way, but you still have to have a lot of people checking. And what are the odds that you're riding the bus or eating dinner next to the person who's turning you in for your dissident posts?
That'd be another great level 1 movie idea.
Maybe they fall in love.
Oh.
What about that? And another twist to make it more palatable to the modern audience, gay lovers.
Oh, like As the Circle Shrinks, our famous PUBG fanfic we wrote on stream.
Just like that.
Just like it.
Speaking of matters of the heart, look at that.
So
wow, I was
good.
born for this.
Unfortunately, there is an issue with pacemakers. I was actually very worried about this because it is a St. Jude pacemaker, which is something my mom has, so I'll be telling her about this article shortly. There is a vulnerability for these pacemakers.
We talked about these pacemakers in the past, and I'm not sure if this is exactly the same flaw, but it's very similar, if not. And it has to do with someone maybe actually getting control of your pacemaker, because there is a software that wirelessly works with the pacemaker.
They can use it to test it. So like they'll slow my mom's up or down when they're testing it in the office.
Right. And a bad actor, of course, being able to control your heart.
Kind of scary.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
This is just security researchers. You know, a lot of times these security stories, they don't actually happen. And what a monster. Because there's no way to make money with this.
No.
Well, I guess you could short St. Jude, which St. Jude is aren't they a nonprofit children's hospital type thing?
Yeah, like they're doing medical research.
So
like what a horrible person.
They're probably not publicly traded. Anyway, I think it'd be hard to make money with this. So only a true monster would
mess with the pacemaker this
kill
way.
people via pacemaker for whatever reason. But hey, we live in a world of trolls. So you if you have one of these, you got to go in. It's not intrusive. They can just wirelessly upgrade the firmware, but you should look into that.
Yeah, I need to call. I'm going to call my mom after this and actually mention this to her.
And it was the St. Jude ICE implantable cardioverter defibrillator and the cardiac resynchronization therapy defibrillator.
She doesn't have a defib, so. But I'll double check.
Yeah.
I'll double check.
That's something you want to just make sure.
You know, because if it's wrong, that could be bad for everybody involved.
Just go ahead and call your doctor.
Yeah.
Why not?
It's 5 seconds. We all hate being on the phone, but sometimes it's necessary.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. It's like, how could I use the word meltdown to talk about
our next story?
The cardiac patients, but I'm sorry.
He's only mortal.
I can only do so many. So the big news that you've certainly already heard about, I mean, who hasn't heard about this, is Spectre NG, which of course stands for Next Generation.
NG. Wow. It's too bad Wendell's not here because he would have left all over that.
Oh my God. Yeah, that would have been a 5-minute Star Trek story. So Spectre NG is basically more of the same, but better, just like Star Trek Next Generation. And the original series fans are furiously typing. Yeah. So Spectre NG, it's the same kind of problems they found, similar problems to the old one. They haven't, it's a German researching magazine that's released this information, and they haven't told us a ton about it. But they have told Microsoft, and supposedly there's already, coming up in the next patch, they've already fixed this. So in the spring update.
Yeah.
Which is good news. But the bad news is, if you don't get the update, then the worst attack from Spectre is very similar to the worst attack here, except where Spectre, it was kind of difficult to set up the scenario to actually use it. This one's much easier to pull off. So more of a concern.
But just update.
This can be done from a virtual machine. So the virtual machine, like Amazon AWS, one of those instances running, can get to the memory of the host. And, that's bad news.
Just update. And if you don't want to update, don't worry. Microsoft will do it for you.
They will certainly update the Amazon services. So probably won't see anything terrible from this. But again, not a lot of details. So when the full details come out, maybe it'll be worse than we thought. Maybe they'll screw up the patch like they did the first 5 patches of the other one. Maybe. It remains to be seen.
You know what else remains to be seen? This guy getting out of prison. That was a 0 out of 10 segue.
It remains to be seen for the next 7 years and 3 months.
Well, I was thinking about the guy he was trying to bust out because his friend never made it out.
I wonder if that guy didn't do anything though, right? I mean, can you punish him for?
Well, I mean, he's probably being punished for something else, obviously. He's in prison.
Maybe we should tell you about the story before we start talking about it first.
Yes. So
what happened here is this gentleman had a friend who was in jail, and he wanted to get his friend out of jail. Well, this dirtbag.
We don't know.
So what he did is he knew enough about the jail software that he knew if he could get in there, he could change the release date, which is a novel way of busting somebody out of jail.
I mean, yeah, it's not really busting so much as just like manipulating someone out of jail.
So what he did, he bought a domain. These guys had a domain that ended in a W. He bought the same domain, but ending in VV. That's brilliant. And unfortunately, his phishing attack failed. These guys were smart enough not to click on the links that he sent with phishing emails. So, starved to them for not doing that. However,
some of my clients.
When he started a phone malware attempt, like just, social engineering to try to get them to install an update, he did get somebody to install it. Soon got access to the network and the release software, changed the date. The good news is, good news if you're a fan of justice and not the guy that's locked up, there are checks and balances. People get notified when a release date changes, and they immediately caught it.
Yeah, isn't it backed up in like 4 or 5 different places too?
I think you have to get confirmations.
There's so it was an anomaly. Like one was different.
Whatever system they've got set up works. They called in the FBI. They quickly found this guy, and 7 years and 3 months is his sentence for trying to bust out his friend.
I wonder what his friend was in on. Does that mention that in the article? I don't remember that.
Let's try and find out. Conrad Voits of Ypsilanti. Good Lord. Oh, he also has to pay $235,000.
Wow.
Impressive.
We need to know. What was his friend in prison for?
Modification of inmate record. Xjail is the software, if you're curious about that. They
Just
probably... I don't think, no, they're not going to tell us. They're probably not allowed to tell us because there's probably some
it's not really related
confidentiality type stuff in there. Although crimes are public record, I don't know. Blame Bleeping Computer for
hit that up on arrest.org. If we knew that guy's name, we could look.
An incomplete story. Way to go, Bleeping Computer.
I want to know what his friend was in for. Like, do you think it was something dangerous?
And why was he so concerned in getting him out?
Was this a minimum security prison, and that's why they? Or
it was a jail.
It was a jail. Okay.
Yeah. So.
Wow. Interesting.
Probably wasn't a big deal. I don't think you stay in jail for like.
Was it worth 7 years of your life? To like.
No. I mean the original crime. If you're in jail, you usually don't. You're not there for a long time.
That's what I mean. Like so like you traded 7 years of your life for getting your friend out.
A lot of it could be just proving that he could do it. Some people get off on that. That whole thing. And some of those people become security researchers. And you know what they do? They hack cars.
Well, I'm going to give that segue a 5 out of 10.
I'm coasting at this point.
Better than mine.
So Volkswagen and is it Audi?
Audi, I think.
People criticize our American pronunciations.
Oh, yeah. You guys say Harry Carey, too.
Okay. Let's talk about that.
Okay.
Do you know who Harry Carey is?
No. I think they're using the Japanese word, right?
Harry Carey, right?
Yeah.
Harry Carey was the famous broadcaster who drunkenly called Cubs games for like 40 years.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
He's
that's
hilarious.
what you're referencing?
Yes.
Oh, I thought you were using the Japanese phrase.
No.
That's what everyone's like correcting you on.
Yeah, exactly. The weebs are like, I think you got that wrong. No, Harry Carey was a sportscaster. Look him up. He's hilarious.
Okay.
especially later in his life.
Well, I had the same thought. I actually thought you guys were trying to pronounce a Japanese word. So
Bunch of losers. Anyway,
correction.
let's talk about these cars. So if you have an Audi or Volkswagen with the entertainment package with the Wi-Fi system, it's called in-vehicle infotainment. And if you have that, you got the Wi-Fi connection, guess what? You've got open ports.
Haxed.
Open ports, bro. And they can get in, they can check your GPS, they can check your phone history, they can turn your volume up and down, they can do things like that. Actually, they could probably do a lot more, but because of the crazy laws about not infiltrating and, you know, being liable if you find problems in software, these researchers stopped at that point because they were like, we're going to get in trouble.
Oh yeah, we'll get a felony. We don't want that.
Yeah. So they could have gone further, probably could have gotten a lot more valuable information for us about the problems here, but they were afraid to.
Do you think that they could just be like, we'll find those bugs for a price?
Well, they immediately called Volkswagen.
Yeah.
And it talks about how they actually went and like sat down with Volkswagen. So
who do you call from Volkswagen? Like,
can I talk to Mr. Wagon?
Mr. Wagon.
So yeah, they probably worked out some kind of bug bounty thing. They did not release the exact way that they got in. So just, you know, they're being cool about it. But here's the thing. It is fixed. You can get an update, but you can't get an over-the-air update. I don't think any car company has over-the-air updates.
No, you have to go into the dealership.
So you got to take it in. So if you got one of these cars, call up your dealership, make an appointment, get those ports closed. Call them up,
that
be
extra fee.
I need my ports closed, bro. You know, I got GPS in my car. You know, the nav thing, and they keep sending me letters. It's like, hey, it's time for your nav update. It's just $100.
$100 to update the farm, the maps.
I actually, I was going somewhere the other day. I had my GPS on. And it was like, we don't know where you are. You're leaving the mapped roads. And I was just like, you know, the map is just a blank white area, and my little arrow is just driving through it. But it was like 5 minutes, and then I was back on the road, and it's like, oh, we know where you are now. So
one time we got lost like that, and it was on the coast, and the car was just spinning in space, like it didn't know where to go.
But yeah, $100.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
just use your phone.
That's ridiculous.
Or if you're like me, I used to use an atlas, a paper atlas.
Wow.
And that wasn't that long ago.
Did
It's
you
like
walk
5 years ago.
5 miles in the snow to get your paper atlas?
No, I did walk to class in the snow.
Well, did you store passwords in plain text back in those days? Back in the Stone Age?
I didn't.
Well, GitHub is doing it now. How dare they?
How dare they?
So you probably heard of this one as well. GitHub, a little bit of egg on their face. What they've done is they were storing passwords. They weren't storing the passwords that are used to compare to your login. They are actually using bcrypt to encrypt the passwords. But often, and I'll raise my hand here, I've done this. Sometimes you want to catch what's happening when a user registers or logs in or whatever. And so you want to look at exactly what's going on with that form. And you might store the password in plain text, you know, just
it's so easy.
Temporarily for diagnostic purposes. Apparently they did that, didn't turn it off. And for a while, there was a table in that database that had plain text passwords from all the logins. Unfortunate. But the good news is that's something that it happens once in a while. It's a terrible mistake. There's no other giant company who's going to make that same mistake, certainly.
Never. Except
Not two
for
at the same time.
Twitter this time, which was like a week ago. We all got pop-ups. Like I logged into Level1 Twitter, and this article came up and was like, you need to change your password. And my personal one did the same. So
Twitter, exactly the same thing. They also use bcrypt, actually. Pretty much carbon copy these two stories. Again, only the people with access to the database could have ever seen your password, but...
Do you trust those assholes?
I don't trust anybody at Twitter.
No.
If you work at Twitter, I don't trust you at all. No, I wouldn't buy a hot dog from you. I wouldn't let you watch my dog. Nothing.
You don't have a dog.
If I did have a dog.
If you had a cat?
I don't know about my cat because I care about cats. But the point is...
You would let them watch it if it was a cat? Because you said you wouldn't let them watch your dog.
Oh, that's true.
Would you shoot them for even talking about your cat?
I don't. Keep my cat's name out of your mouth, Twitter sluts.
And I don't know how we segue from that. Critical security flaw in popular industrial software puts power plants at risk.
We have talked about the power plant software risk in the past before, certainly. We've talked about Stuxnet. If you're not hip to Stuxnet, it was this state-sponsored malware that tried to destroy some critical power infrastructure and nuclear plant stuff. This one's a little different. This one has to do with interface software. So the various parts of your power plant, they've got microcontrollers running the machines and stuff, but you need the normies, right, in the control room.
They need to be able to control it themselves.
Exactly. You don't want to train people to go in there and interface with the microcontrollers directly. That's crazy. No, you need one guy. You need like a Homer Simpson type character, right? Just sitting in an office,
that's
controlling the power plant. And that's what they did. They set up a nice little web GUI, really nice. But the problem is, it was vulnerable to a terrible Stack Overflow.
And here we are.
Unfortunate. This was a security researcher, once again, not actually somebody. The fact that
our security stories this week are kind of, they're not weak, but it's like, this could happen.
Well, it's good that they find these things.
Yeah.
But as you can see, the lights are on. The camera's operating. So the power plants, they're still running. And nobody got hurt. They did fix the software. Still a little bit embarrassing, if you're the software manufacturer. Because it's a very important thing, the power infrastructure. And some testing should have gone into that. I don't think they worked very hard for this Stack Overflow. And then once they overflowed the buffer, they were able to do pretty much whatever they wanted. So,
rip in peace. Do you think someone got fired for that?
Well, I don't know. I mean,
I didn't mention the article, but just curious.
At the power plant, no. They might switch software vendors, but I got to think that's a small market.
Yeah.
Probably
and like anything sort of, I imagine government's involved there, and they've got their own list of people that they want to work with, and
probably
nothing changed.
No heads are going to roll, and just like no heads are going to roll in Australia for the loss of financial histories of 12 million customers.
It's just kind of an interesting story because the company actually did things right here. Well, I mean, sort of, but like they don't know how the last two little bits of information got dropped.
An attempt was made. So what happened here? This is not a hack. Usually we talk about hacks and you think banks losing data. Must have been some kind of hack. Must have been someone infiltrating. No, they were decommissioning a data center. And they were putting everything on tape backups just in case when you back everything up before you move the data center, just in case something blows up, you got your tape backups. But 2 of those tapes went missing. And to this day, no one knows where they are. They're just missing.
Well, yeah, because didn't they send them someplace to be destroyed? And there was just a couple that were like, they didn't get a receipt for.
They were supposed to be shredded up, and you get a certificate of, yes, these things, we definitely destroyed them. Here's a picture of the pile of ash.
The smithereens.
That turned them into. And they didn't get them back on these 2 drives. They tried to find them. They looked. They actually even retraced the path of the truck and looked on the side of the road and couldn't find anything.
What are the chances someone actually picks that up, knows how to use it, and understands what they're looking at?
Very limited, because they talk about the formatting on those discs are not common. I think it's some proprietary thing that they use. So very unlikely that somebody could get it, know what they have, and care enough to actually
get into
decrypt what's on there.
Yeah.
But the point is, this wasn't PIN numbers or passwords or anything like that. This was full financial history of, all of your banking, your investments, everything about you. So, worrying if somebody did get a hold of that.
Let's hope just a dog got hold of it and ripped it apart.
What if a dog got a hold of it and got your financial history? What if Rue found out about your entire financial history?
I don't think Rue is smart enough, even if she had it, to order anything on Amazon or use that information in any sort of nefarious way.
She might be sandbagging you on the intelligence thing just so she can get into your financials.
She does show, she's a little more clever than I give her credit for sometimes.
It's all a ruse.
A ruse. That's why people tune in to the Level 1 news.
What do you think she would spend the money on?
Probably more chew toys.
What about her cocaine habit?
I don't know about that, but I did find some suspicious white powder.
It's because you're a bad mommy.
Ugh.
Speaking of bad mommies, which has nothing to do with.
Segue.
So this week's crypto, there wasn't much. And this, they're both kind of non-story. Actually, one is definitely a non-story. This one's a sliver of a story, should we say?
It's kind of more gossip. The Reddit co-founder says Ethereum price will reach, 15K this year, but he's also trying to sell his own product related to this. And it's like, do you really think that, or are you just trying to pull the fleece over everyone's eyes and sell your own stuff?
Yeah, he's got nothing to do with Reddit anymore. They sold to Condé Nast in 2010 or something.
Yeah, several years ago.
So he started up a new company, shockingly, has to do with cryptocurrency. And he's saying that cryptocurrency is going to explode in value. He says Ethereum's going to hit 15K and Bitcoin's going to get back to 20,000.
Let's hope that's true for your sake.
I would welcome it.
Yeah.
And this time around, I will sell it if that happens.
And you can get your sweet house out in the country with internet.
I got burned on that last time. Yeah, I don't think I'm ever going to get the house in the country. I fear it's an impossibility.
If you don't watch our streams, Ryan is currently house hunting, and literally every house he's called on, they're like, oh, no, you don't have internet out there.
Yeah.
Or sometimes they'll tell him there's internet.
Well, there's...
and then there's not.
There's wireless internet, but, that's...
That's for casuals.
Right. Filthy casuals. Normies.
Speaking of casuals, if you're wanting to get into cryptocurrency, but you're not into it hardcore, maybe you should get into Bacoin.
Bacoin, invented by Keith Sizzle.
Of course. God, what marketing director?
This is a very cringeworthy video. And before, those of you who are already going to the comment section and furiously typing and saying, that's not a real cryptocurrency, we know.
We know. This is a marketing stunt.
It's a marketing stunt. It's a poor one. But it is, I don't know. Maybe,
it's kind of charming and it's
kind of clever. Way. So you're wondering, how does Bacoin work, right? That was my question.
They've got a whole website here to explain that.
So if you look, Bacoin here, we have, this is the Bacoin ticker. Currently, one Bacoin, right? So you got this nice little key here. That's one Bacoin is worth 6 BCNS, which is strips of Oscar Mayer bacon.
Of course. Which, it's pretty self-explanatory.
Today when I read this, which was around 9-10 a.m., it was only worth 2 bacons. So...
And it's going on up.
It's tripled in bacon value. So what you do is you register for this marketing campaign. You sell them your data, basically.
You are the product.
And you get a Bacoin. I think you get one. And... the more people who sign up for Bacoins, the higher the value of the Bacoin goes. They're actually not going to mail you bacon, as appealing as that is. They're going to give you a coupon for Oscar Mayer bacon. So
worth it. Totally.
Maybe get in early. I will give you this one cautionary tale as someone who's worked with online contests. If you read the fine print, and I did, they can just decide whenever they want to change the price of the Bacoin. You cannot expect the Bacoin. It's never going to hit 200. You're never going to get 200 bacons for one Bacoin. I'm sorry.
But I want them.
I don't think... I don't know if this is the fully cooked bacon or if this is just...
I don't buy bacon that often. I don't buy Oscar Mayer because it's expensive.
What do you get?
I buy whatever the store brand is.
Do you get the pre-cooked or you make it yourself?
Usually pre-cooked. I'm lazy.
Yeah.
I'm lazy.
That stuff, apparently, if you believe the hype, it's just packed with cancer.
It tastes good.
It does taste good.
Actually, they say that of any sort of salted red meat is that it's
yeah, but you got to think that something that can sit at room temperature forever and remain bacon, got to be something up there, right?
Maybe. Probably.
You know what? We're here for a short time. You might as well have some bacon. You might as well get yourself some Bacoins. And that's it.
That's the end of the episode.
We'll be back tomorrow. I don't remember what tomorrow's stories are going to be, but I know they'll be exciting.
There's one that's designed. There's 3 that are designed.
I think we're going to do design. I don't know if we're doing design tomorrow.
Well.
I can't remember.
They're going to be good, whatever they are.
If not tomorrow, then Friday.
Yeah.
So be sure to tune in for that. I think we got a contest going on, but
we do have a contest.
I don't remember the details.
It's the end of the month. There's information on our Twitter about that contest. And Wendell's at Penguicon. He'll be back later this week. He'll probably post a video, some photos, that kind of thing. So especially if you're a patron, check that out.
And we got some new shirts for sale too.
Yeah. Lots of stuff happening
Hot
here.
merch and the Level 1 store.
Hot off the presses.
So we'll be back tomorrow. See you then.
Bye.